Welcome, greetings everybody. Welcome to the Art Lexcia podcast. It's me, Wesley Pepper. I usually announce the episode number now, but I've been doing a bunch of recording last week, so sometimes my episodes are a bit jumbled up. So yeah, excuse that one. And just a few things, or just a technical thing. My throat is a bit sore this morning, so my voice might sound a bit weird, a bit funny. But anyway. But anyway, today we welcome Andre Odendaal. He's a renowned African actor, director. Has been around since for very long.
The 80s.
Since the 80s. Yeah. But Andre, firstly, my brother, man, good morning. Thank you for taking the time out. Welcome. How are you doing?
No, I'm fine. Thank you. We are coping well with a lovely winter here in Joburg. It's a little bit of mild summer, actually. So we're doing okay.
All good. It's good to hear. Andre, before we get to under Milkwood, the production that's going to be taking place at Die Pienk Kerk on the 15th and the 16th of August. That's this year, 2026. Yeah, man. Let's just start with a little bit of a background on your career in TV and film. Just an overview, so the guests that don't know, for new audiences.
Cool, yeah. So I started around 85 when I finished the military that we had to do in those days, and then I went to PAC. Those days, the Performing Arts Council of the Transvaal. So I started as a youngster, and then I was there till 91, and then I became freelance, and I've been freelance ever since. So I did a lot of theatre in the beginning of my career, and then I went freelance, did more theatre, and then I did a series called Going Up, which is still being broadcast. People still know about.
Yeah.
And then I went into directing sitcoms like SOS, Fishy Fashions. And then I made some films, Gat in die Muur, which was on Netflix, Amazon, Showmax, ETV was the last one. And then I just carried on, directing theatre and film and television. I did Ditapu, which was a Sutu series I directed. Then I directed The Empire, Easy Money. So I've worked across the board with actors of all races, backgrounds. And then most recently, there was Dop, 8 years ago, production directed by Sylvain Strike. And then last year, we did Bitter Winter, which Paul wrote. And Lesedi Job directed. And we went all over the place. Cape Town, Hilton Arts Festival, Durban. And at the moment, I am busy rehearsing a new one-man show called Snap Road. And that Rida Landman, who is in our cast of Andre Milkwood, translated. So, in short, that's it.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. Yeah, it's substantial, and I kind of feel like I wanna ask a little bit, just a question on that, man. And let me just give you some perspective, because on my platform I talk to a whole array of artists from across every genre, and I'm really interested to know how more post-COVID, like how the streaming services has changed TV. I mean, you mentioned like all these productions were done on SABC, and now we have all these streaming channels and so forth, and the format of TV has changed and so on. Just your take on that, man. Do you find that the TV industry has gotten better over time? Are actors being paid better, or is it the opposite?
No, I think the opposite. It depends who you work for. And recently I acted in a movie called Studying Under the Barrel of a Gun, which is, if you do a Netflix production, the fees a bit higher. I think streaming has during COVID, I directed Legacy and Springbokkie during COVID because people needed TV because they couldn't go to live events, But as a result, I personally feel content has become a lot on TV. And in our country, especially, it's a bit rushed. Everything is a bit rushed because people are trying to churn out content,
Yeah, that's why
as
I'm
quickly
asking.
as possible. Yeah. So in my personal opinion, and I may be taken on for this, but I feel generally, of course, there's always exceptions to the rule, but generally the quality of the content for me has gone down simply because it's so rushed. And it seems like budgets are not getting particularly bigger, because you speak to artists and they say, we're getting the same as we did 10 years ago. Plus, then we're dealing with the fact that we don't get any royalties.
I was gonna
Which
ask
is a
about
very
that.
sore. Now, that's a very sore point for artists across the board. And that the fact that things get broadcast and rebroadcast in this country, and so there is a wonderful movement back to theatre because like with sport, people want the live experience. So theatre at the moment is actually exploding across the world. Not just in this country, because I think people are a bit tired of just sitting at home and watching TV. They did for 2 years during COVID. That's all they did. Yeah, so it's tricky to say because your ordinary blue collar worker, your guy on the street, still likes to switch on his TV. Or the kids like to watch things on their phones. So content in general across the world, because of streaming, has is very different than it was in my time. And I find that therefore people will watch, but they are drawn more towards the live experience in the last few years, which is great.
Yeah, I can sort of testify on that. Like I've noticed a serious upsurge post-COVID in theater, festivals, more theater productions. Look at like what's happening at the Market Theater, at Fitz Theater. There's been a real uptake, and like you say, I also think it's a combination of some of these things that which is actually, this is sort of my last question on this topic before we get into the production. Is that audiences, TV and stuff, as you say, is a bit more rush. It's very formulated. It's very predictable. A lot of movies and TV shows are very predictable. There's, yeah, you can tell what's gonna come one episode before that, and maybe just for theater. And this is just my, I don't have a lot of data to back this up, but theater is real. People are thinking off the cuff. It actually takes a lot more talent, and you can see the work put into the production. The actors, the actresses have, there's everything about, their preparation and so forth. So yeah, it's actually fascinating given that everything is moving. We have got this whole global shift to everything is being streaming, music and stuff like that. But older generations are seeing more value in actual live production. So that's actually fascinating now how things is moving forward, and not necessarily back, but just finding more value in real people in in
Just to give
theater.
you a statistic on film, which is interesting. The Odyssey, has made a lot of money in its first week, and that's a cinematic experience. People actually go to the cinema. It's not on streaming, and the majority of their audience worldwide in the first week were under 35, which to me says that even younger people have a an urge, a desire to experience something that makes them feel something, feel something, you know? Instead of just staring at the TV screen, binging a series. So that's, one would think, why would young people go to read tragedy on screen? But there it is, they're going. And I think it's got to do with people who connect with emotion again, because I think COVID has stomped
Yeah,
us all off
yeah,
in interaction so much that there's a desire for that. That's my thought.
yeah. No, I can second you on that one there. Absolutely. Even like my background is visual art, and the just the experience of having the artwork in a certain room and the atmosphere there actually adds to the sales and everything. It is something personally I'm fascinated in. I'm trying to collect as much data as I can because we're doing something on the side regarding that. So yeah, it's just a fascinating thing how and I'm always asking all my guests and that. So thanks for that, Andre. But yeah, man, let's get into the into the play under Milkwood. As I mentioned, it's on the 15th and the 16th of August this year, 2026, at Die Pienk Kerk. And for those that don't know, Die Pienk Kerk is one of the more booming live venues and restaurants in Joburg. I've covered quite a few events there. Lots of exciting stuff there. But let's just take it back to the work of Dylan Thomas. Are you a fan of his work, and why did you? How did it come that that you decided to put this production together?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I mean, under Milkwood, our town, that they all his work. They've under Milkwood was done in 1953. Um, he's Welsh. Um, so his work gets done all over the world, often still to this day. Because he's regarded, especially under Milkwood, is regarded as one of the most magical, prolific pieces of writing ever. So Ruda is my neighbor. So
Okay.
Ruda, yeah. So the Clarence Festival was coming up last year, and Ruda said, "Why don't we read under Milkwood for the Clarence Festival?" And I said, "Yeah, cool. That sounds like a nice idea, something different." And then I started calling people, Ruby and Fiona and Kim and Mary, and said, "Would you like to be part of this?" And they all immediately said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," because the work is so famous, We would love to do it. Put them together, rehearsed, was accepted by the Clarence Festival, went there, did it, was successful, and then Kobus Burger action from Lexcia.
Hmm.
He saw it at Clarence. He said to Yanni at the Pink Cat, "You have to take this thing," and that's how we got to be at the Pink Cat. Now we've also been asked by the Imagination Room in Norwood, I think, which is also a very new venue,
Yeah.
to go there, possibly. But yeah, so Thomas wrote this in 53. It's done by the actors who play all the roles, all the different roles, and it's a story about a small seaside town, Flanagan.
Okay.
Now, if you say Flanagan backwards, it means bugger all. So
Okay.
he's playing on words, and it's a story told from the point of view of Tomcat, from a cat, which Turby is playing, and describing the goings on in one day in the little town. The characters, who they are, what they're up to, whose wife is cheating on whose husband, who's trying to kill who's already dead. Um, so the whole thing has this very dreamlike, mysterious quality about it. Funnily enough, shortly after it was released, he died. Dylan
Okay.
Thomas.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's this magical little reading of this story of Slarigit.
Interesting thing about the name Insbagro. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's also ironic. You gotta there's 6 actors involved in this production and they're all stellar. I mean, you mentioned Toby Kronia. I think he's probably one of the most legendary voices, especially with children programs. I mean, he's done like sure, Ruda Landpan, also a renowned journalist. Can you just give us can you just take us through some of the actors and maybe just a few stuff about them for those guys that are not familiar with him?
So yeah, so as I said, the idea came from Ruda because Ruda's an avid reader. Ruda reads a lot. And she suggested it. No, we all know Ruda as a journalist, but I know Ruda. I've gotten to know Ruda as an artist as well. The side of Ruda that I don't think a lot of people know. You know, her love for art and reading and literature. Then, of course, there's Turby. What can I say about Turby? I walk around with Turby, and every 2 meters we have to stop someone recognizing it, you know. Um, and then there's Fiona Ramsey, of course, which is
Another
a
renowned.
renowned actress, director in our countries. Most English people in the country know Fiona Ramsey is. She's also Dr. Fiona Ramsey.
Okay.
We, yeah, she's Dr. Ramsey. She was head of the BRIDGET department for quite a few years. Also one of our top accent coaches. She's worked with everybody from Tim Robbins to Kate Blanchett to, you know, Idris Elba. Then there is Kim Kluter and Mary Todd. They're a couple. And Kim is an actress whom I've used a few times. And Kim is also been around for a long time, and so has Murray. Murray stepped out of the industry a few years ago because I think it was actually after COVID, because it just became so difficult for actors to get work. So yeah, so Murray is just a beautiful English actor with a lovely voice. I can't at this moment, forgive me, Murray, pinpoint any specific productions, but yeah, that's the cast, and we do all the sound effects ourselves, and yeah, so that's the stellar cast doing reading.
Yeah, man, I was gonna well, firstly, just there's not a comment on the cast. Yeah, man, it's a stellar cast. I guess like just those names already will pull in people. Just with yeah, man, you mentioned like that you know with movies and popular things these days, an actor's name still has pulling power, and I reckon this is right up there, right up there. Um, there's one thing I want to ask you about the fact that it's a stage reading. Can you just take me through like what exactly is that and how does that differ to just to the normal play, and what makes this different?
So under Milkwood was written, it says on the front of the book, it's a play for voices. So in actual fact, what he means by that is it's like a, you know, it's all about the language and the vocal delivery and the skill of the words and telling the story. So when Thomas did it the first time in '53, there were also 6 actors. It's always just been a reading. There has been productions that some people have tried to turn it into a play. The National Theatre even made a small film about it, I think, a year or 2 ago. But ultimately, it remains a reading. You know, it's like people come, they can close their eyes and just listen, because that's how it was intended. It was intended for people to hear and then make a visualize the entire town and everybody in their own minds as it's been read to them.
That's interesting. Can you tell me, is there any a focus like on costumes and sets and stuff like that? Since this venue is much smaller.
Absolutely flooding. Buggerel. We've got wearing black. We're sitting in chairs and we make use of instruments like a Chinese bowl and some bells. And that's our soundtrack. And that's it. It's literally just us and how we tell the story. There's nothing else.
Yeah, that sort of simplicity, it sort of leads us to a point you made earlier on about like streaming and all these budgets used for, a lot of stuff was done behind a green screen, a lot of CGI. So there's a generation that is so visually almost overwhelmed. All these colors, textures, things just flashing in front of you, and here you guys are just sitting and reading. Is that also part of the I guess the interest behind this production, that people also just want to see something natural and it is just simple, like you say, you can literally close your eyes and listen, where I mean you can't really do that to modern streaming or content.
Yeah, so that's the thing, so you are. It's putting the audience in a position where they have to have to listen to what is being said, whereas streaming, often you just switch something on the TV and it just goes and you get up and you make a cup of tea and people don't really listen anymore. The art of listening has really gone out the window, and with theatre, it's very important that you involve your audience on that level. And reading something like Under Milkwood is really forcing your audience to put their knives and forks down, to put their cup of tea down, and just engage with the story that's being told. It's like the old days, when people sit around a fire and someone tells a story. It's that.
Yeah. Storytelling. Actually, I did a recording, I think it was last week. We were talking about like South Africans, having a tradition of storytelling and how that comes through in things like comedy, music. Excuse me. Excuse me. Are those things sort of comes through in a lot of other art genres. So that's also I find that really fascinating. You're sort of like I'm not sure if you're the right person to ask about this, but I know that Die Pienk Kerk is having a pajama party on the 28th of August. Are you and your cast going to be part of that party as well?
Am I?
Die Pienk Kerk is hosting a pajama party on the 28th of August. Are you
Yeah.
or any of the members of your cast going to be part of that pajama party? Are we going to go there and see Andre Odendaal in his favorite pajamas?
I'm sure you are going to, definitely. Because the Pink Cat is literally 2 blocks away from me. And Yanni and I are friends, and I'm sure I'll be there in my pajamas.
Okay, so that's something.
Warm, and I had wear boxes and a vest. Because that's basically for me.
Okay, so that's also something else to look forward to. But just for my listeners, if they didn't catch that, that's the pajama party on the 28th of August, and I'll add all the the details in the description box here below. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it, man. Andre, man. Again,
I think
it's
just so it's the 15th and 16th. The 15th at 7 o'clock, the 16th at 3 o'clock, and it's 450 Rand, which includes the 2-course meal.
Yeah. And I'll add all those details there below. Just in closing, like after the showcase at Die Pienk Kerk, is there any plans of taking the production anywhere else? Any other festivals that it might be performed at later on in the year?
Not yet asked, but I'm sure that will come. I mean, I'm going to art with a one-man show that calls Slag Road, but Under Milky Under Milkwood is one of those things we thought we were just going to do one reading at Clarence, and the next thing Pienk Kerk asked. Now the imagination room is also. I think it will unfold how it must.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as of yet, we have no other bookings yet.
Andre, is there any website or social media pages? Are you active on social media? If people want to, engage with you, talk with you, or even see any of your previous work on TV and such, is there platforms and stuff where people can get access to that?
I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Andre JFO on Instagram and just Andre Odendaal on Facebook. The platforms where my work can be seen are KykNet, SABC. It's all over the place. There's I can't think of any specific platform that one can access it. But yeah, I'm on Instagram and Facebook if people want to engage.
Yeah, and again, like I'll add all that details over there. Just like a closing question or point on older content. This is a topic I actually wanna do a full episode on. Is to know like. Pardon?
Getroud met rugby.
That too. Yeah. I think that one. Yeah. I'm actually familiar with that one. Yeah, man. I actually like. I'm actually quite interested to know like how does actors like older content from the 90s, 80s, as you mentioned, even up until the early 2000s. I'm actually fascinated to know like how else can people rewatch stuff like that, or like you just dump it all on YouTube, and if so, how does the actors get remuneration for that type of thing? That's a topic I really want to cover.
Everything is on YouTube. KykNet is showing old Afrikaans series again at the moment, and it's proving to get quite big traction.
I'm gonna check that.
But everything is on YouTube. Everything is on YouTube, and we're not getting a cent.
I was going to ask about that. Isn't that unfair? That doesn't sound
grossly unfair. It's grossly unfair. And Jack, Deborah, and the guys at Saga, our union has been fighting and working to get the president to sign the IP bill, so that we can just get. It's not only sad to see our actors get older without money. It is also not right, not to have our IPs honored and appreciated and paid for. And we have to, as actors, speak out about that at the moment, and a lot of
I agree.
It's a bit backward.
It is, and it's exploitation on another level. It's the worst, grossest form of exploitation. And on YouTube, I know because my podcast is I use the YouTube platform. YouTube makes a lot of money off of us. And the remuneration we get, well, I don't get paid off it. My numbers aren't there yet, but it's like with Spotify, it's really pathetic. And people can access the stuff for free. Yeah, man, like as I mentioned, I want to do a full sort of thing on that, because I'm covering that, especially how AI is adapting, is changing, for example, like the whole writing or like editing, graphic design, web design, stuff like that. And there's just nothing coming from government, from the arts department, nothing. There's no statements, nothing. And whenever the only time you will hear stuff like that is when a group of actors or artists get together and are loud on social media, and that can also just be pushed aside as rage bait or clickbait, taking off the seriousness of it. So yeah, man, that's a problem all artists are facing, and yeah, it's horrible.
I mean, I know that David Minnar was talking recently on a Agnet interview, and a lot of younger artists are afraid, they're scared to speak up because they still want a career, they want a job, they want this, that. But artists, we must grow backbone, and we must stand together, and we must speak about
I
it because
agree.
it's not.
I agree, and I don't think it's just actors, it's musicians, it's writers, it's playwrights, it's visual artists. We're all in the same boat here. I mean, opera, exactly. I speak to artists every week, and the problems are consistent with everybody. And it's got particularly worse post COVID. That's why I think that's really interesting. The point you made in the beginning about how the orders is sort of shifting or changing, to more real life productions and so forth. But yeah, man, that's another topic for another day.
The point is, we can go on. The point is, we pay tax, we use cell phones, we buy food, we pay rent. Some of us own homes with bonds. We engaging in our country in the same way as anybody else.
I agree.
That we have no tension, anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also another thing. I mean, like I'm struggling with this cough. I could have gone to. I can't afford to pay 800. I don't have a medical aid, so I can't go to pay 800 or almost 1,000 rand to go to a doctor just to get medicine. Like that's also. Yeah, no, we're all in the same boat, man. And I want to bring up these topics constantly on this platform, and then hopefully more and more people will listen and take us seriously.
Yeah. Okay, Wesley, we'll talk more about this.
Yeah. That's for that's for another time. That's for another time. But just to wrap up again, the 15th and the 16th of August at Die Pienk Kerk, under Milkwood, featuring the renowned Andre Odendaal. My brother, thank you very much for taking the time out this morning to come speak to me. All the best for the show. I hope it's all sold out. I will publish this episode probably towards the end of the week, but I'll let you know via WhatsApp. And then I also cut it up into shorts, which is also a very effective way to promote the thing. But I'll be tagging you and all of that on social media. So all the best for the production. Thank you very much for coming through.
Dankie, Wesley. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye, dankie Andre man. Lekker man. Lekker dag. Bye bye.